Remember when Elon showed what countries all the tweets are coming from?
Right.
Okay. Why the fuck are Indians and Sri Lankans tweeting about Israel-Palestine shit, right? Well,
Right.
It's because there's these bounties they put up and you can get invited to like a circle. Remember when you would show me those things people would get of like, hey, say this shit and we'll give you this money?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now there's a bounty system. It's on Jimmy's channel. It's fucking amazing. So a bunch of people that I would watch them just like flip and say a thing like it's their job to say it. It was their job, but they're trying to hit a certain amount of engagement, and then you get like 50 grand.
And right away, Kurt is doing Joe's old job for him, which is already humiliating. Kurt starts talking about bought narratives, fake online consensus, bounty posting, the same little army of useful idiots and paid freaks pushing approved slop. And Joe just sits there blinking, like he's watching rain hit a window. That's the modern JRE experience now. The guest follows the stink, and Joe plays dumb until the danger passes. That's why that comment was so good. Kurt is keeping the original JRE spirit alive. Yeah, because Kurt is actually saying the ugly part out loud, while Joe's already checking whether this conversation is about to cost him access to the same rich swamp creatures he still treats with kid gloves.
Conversation's always been like other countries are doing it.
Yeah.
You know? And then they have bots and fake accounts, which is definitely true as well. But it seems like also they're paying people to say things.
Yeah, well,
There's a lot of people that seem like they're doing it like it's a job, right?
me assuming someone either is blackmailed or MK Ultra is me being kind of positive, because really a lot of these people are just sacks of shit that are going for a bounty. So
Yeah.
if you were MK Ultra, that's like kind of cooler than that, I think.
And you think some of them can just sort of justify that bounty, they, whatever country's paying it, hey, they have their own rights.
It's specific like billionaires and shit pay
Right.
it.
And it works both ways, I'm sure. I'm sure a
Both
lot
ways
of the
with what?
anti-Israel stuff, people being paid a bounty, don't you think? Don't you think like there's certain people
okay.
involved in that as well that are probably being paid?
Yo,
It's from
that,
all around, right?
That crime that got done in Gaza, and they're done now, so everybody can relax.
Is
They
it
got
done?
it done, yeah. Oh yeah, it's done. So watch Norman Finkelstein; he'll explain it to you. But so that crime that's done now.
This is where Kurt starts getting into why the old Israel script stopped working. Gaza was too visible. Too many people saw too much. They saw bombed out neighborhoods, starving civilians, dead kids, tents getting hit, aid turning into a death trap. The whole conveyor belt of horror in real time. And this isn't just people getting emotional online. The International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant in November 2024, and the International Court of Justice had already imposed provisional measures in South Africa's genocide case against Israel. So when Kurt talks like the cover story is cracking, he is not going too far. He's saying what the record already says. The respectable lie is getting harder to maintain. And Joe's sitting there with that rich guy head tilt like, that's interesting. No, Joe, it's not interesting. It's the part where the old propaganda stops working because the footage beat the script.
The reason that the frantic buying up of the media by Larry, the shadow president Larry Ellison, is because they lost the next generation of trauma-controlled fucking mind slaves, because on TikTok, these psychopaths bragged about crimes they did to people. And all the young Zoomies are on there, including in America where we were force-fed woke bullshit by the oligarchs who are now suddenly horrified because they didn't think it would blow back, that their kids would absorb that crap. Guess who has not had woke programming for the last 12 years? Israel. So you can tell who's involved with the propaganda now, because they have no concept of the sensitivities of these gender blobs that were made in this country. So now they lost the next generation. So now they're frantically buying TikTok. They're putting Barry Weiss in charge of fucking. That's going to work out great. I'll bet she's already out based on the town hall alone that we covered. One of the worst things I've ever seen.
I didn't see it.
And now Joe goes into one of his favorite little defense mechanisms, fake amnesia. I didn't see it. I don't know. What happened? Sure, man. Joerogan can remember every chimp story, every elk hunt, every supplement stack, every boomer clip sent to him on X. But the second the topic is Gaza, Netanyahu, Epstein world, donor class rot, or the same protected creeps who always seem to float above consequence, his brain suddenly turns into soup. Joe, I never hear about anything anymore, Rogan. Exactly. The man only goes deaf when the wrong class of rich freaks enters the room. And that's what makes the Epstein angle so gross here. The DOJ now has an official Epstein library online, says it may add more documents, and warns readers that parts of it contain descriptions of sexual assault. DOJ also said in January it had released nearly 3.5 million pages total, including over 2,000 videos and 180,000 images, and that notable individuals and politicians were not redacted. So spare me the who can really say act. The elite creep file cabinet is not imaginary anymore. It's a government website.
Yeah, no
Shut the
shit.
fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It's all pretend.
Well, I hate to bring it up, but ISIS is in charge of Syria now, even while morons will tell you that ISIS is attacking Christians in Nigeria.
Listen.
Is everybody retarded?
You're always a glass half empty. At least Netanyahu got a pardon.
Did he? From who? Trump?
Trump.
How could Trump pardon Netanyahu for... Well, how does that work?
I don't know. You asked me.
You... Okay.
Someone should cue the America fuck yeah music right now.
Oh, we're bombing Venezuela too, by the way. It's
Just, hey, dude, no disinformation. Drone bombing. We're not even there.
No, we got ground. We reported yesterday. We got ground people.
Oh, really?
Going in.
Netanyahu says
he
Trump
announced
became
it
the
with this
first
fucking guy.
non-Israeli to receive Israel prize. Oh, Trump got a prize. Nice. The first non-Israeli. Announces Trump will be the first non-Israeli to receive Israel prize for tremendous contributions.
Yeah, well, hey, they should give him a fucking prize.
You got to make deals. You want to make omelets? You got to crack a few eggs. Like the prize. Nobody gets it. But Israelis, I want to be the first.
There's no omelet ever coming whenever someone says that.
What did he pardon Netanyahu for? I didn't know that Netanyahu was in trouble.
This part is beautiful because Kurt keeps dragging Joe back to the center of the accusation, and Joe keeps trying to hide and fog in details. Who said what? When exactly? Was that this person or that person? It's the same little stall tactic every time. He doesn't want to touch the obvious point. Israel has been given absurd room to level civilian life and then wash all of it in the language of security, while the same political media and donor-class sewer system runs cover for it. And the UN Human Rights Office was not subtle about this. In February 2026, it said intensified attacks, the methodical destruction of neighborhoods, denial of humanitarian assistance, and forcible transfers appeared aimed at a permanent demographic shift, raising concerns over ethnic cleansing in Gaza and the West Bank. It also said the pattern of attacks raised grave concerns that Israeli forces intentionally targeted civilians and civilian objects, which would constitute war crimes. So when Joe acts puzzled here, that is not caution. That is deodorant for atrocity.
They're arguing already.
Israel's president denies telling Trump a Netanyahu pardon is, quote, on its way.
But he's not an American citizen, is he?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Say that again. Say this statement again.
That's the headline of this.
Israel's president denies telling Trump a Netanyahu pardon is on his way. So what does that mean? So Netanyahu denies saying that to Trump is what it sounds like. Doesn't it sound like that?
Isaac Herzog.
Oh, Isaac Herzog. Well, wait a minute. Oh, the prime minister. So they have prime minister and a president. Okay. I'm so ignorant.
I'm so ignorant. And for once, he actually says something true. Kurt is talking about ethnic cleansing, regime change, bipartisan war theater, and the same blood-soaked machine dressing mask killing up in careful little phrases for cowards. Meanwhile, Joe keeps wobbling around the edges like a man trying not to let the sentence finish itself. But the sentence is already finishing itself in public. In June 2025, the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry said Israeli attacks on educational, religious, and cultural sites amounted to war crimes and the crime against humanity of extermination. It said there were growing indications of a concerted campaign to obliterate Palestinian life in Gaza, and documented attacks on schools, shelters, and religious sites where civilians were killed. That's why Kurt lands so hard here. He sounds messy, but he is way closer to where the evidence has gone. Joe sounds reasonable, only because he is trying to keep the obvious from being said too cleanly.
And this is where I can't support Maduro, and I'm sorry, Maduro. This is where you fucked up. He doesn't fucking support Israel, this son of a bitch. So...
Did he say that publicly?
Oh, yes. And he said the thing that Charlie said before he died, about ethnic cleansing. Anyway, the originally, remember Juan Guaido, who was, when Trump did his State of the Union and Nancy Pelosi tore his speech in half?
She did.
Wait.
Sure did.
Yes.
Okay. Here's what she didn't. So that was, oh, what a statement. But when it came to Trump going, and now the rightful ruler of Venezuela, Juan Guaido... And this guy, Juan Guaido, who is, by the way, is not the rightful ruler of Venezuela, all Democrats and Republicans all unified on how great Juan Guaido is. Okay, so nothing comes of him.
It's the oil deal.
Yeah, then about I don't want to say a year later or so, Aaron Mate's hosting for Jimmy, and we play a clip of Juan Guaido in Venezuela. He moved back to Venezuela. And Venezuela didn't put him in jail or nothing. And you see people in a restaurant throwing shit at him because they hate his fucking guts.
Venezuela'da 2019 yılında Amerikancı darbe girişimine önderlik eden ve başarısız olan Guaido bir restoranda yemek yemek istedi. Halkın öfkesine kayıtsız kalmaya çalışması tansiyonu iyice yükseltti. Tepkilere yanıt vermeye kalkınca da tartaklandı.
But he's free to live there and not in prison because they're smart and know like not to do nothing with it. So now there's a new person, some
Wait a
chick.
minute, what was he accused of?
Well, he claimed he was the real president and he was working with America to overthrow the guy they elected, which was,
okay.
You know, the
He
other
claimed
guy.
he was the real president. So they were
Trump
claiming
did,
it was
and Pelosi agreed.
a rigged election.
They've been claiming Venezuela has fake elections, but I don't think they do. I think you're, first of all, driving them closer to Maduro. If you don't like him, they don't like America. And I don't know if you know, I know people think we gave a lot of help around the world, but no, it turns out we fucked everybody's country up and they don't like us for a very good reason. Well, here's why I forgive ISIS, because I don't approve of their anti-Semitic rhetoric, and you know that, and neither does my wife, Shoshana Rothin. But credit where credit is due. They have never attacked Israel. Al-Qaeda and ISIS, the two most anti-Semitic, mad about Israel terror groups, you'd think they would because it's right there before you come here. But no, they just attack us, which, when you think about it, makes no fucking sense as a plan, does it?
Not right now. I'll have to think about it later.
This is one of Kurt's strongest stretches because he's forcing Joe to sit in the smell of the whole thing. Who gets sold as the permanent villain? Who gets flattened? Who gets starved? Who gets to scream terrorism while entire civilian worlds are erased? Kurt is basically pointing at a managed slaughter with a PR team. And Joe's response is exactly what it always is now. Little laugh, little dodge, little softening move, anything to stop the point from landing too clearly. Because Joe doesn't ignore Kurt because Kurt sounds insane. He ignores Kurt because Kurt is getting too close to the wrong freaks. War pimps, donor-class ghouls, protected politicians, and the same elite social layer that always seems to overlap with Epstein world filth. And the aid angle alone is evil enough without any extra seasoning. OHCHR said in June 2025 that deadly attacks on desperate civilians trying to access food in Gaza were unconscionable, that attacks directed at civilians are war crimes, and that forcing people to choose between starvation and being shot while seeking food may itself involve war crimes and other grave international crimes. So no, this is not just a complicated conflict. It's a horror show with diplomatic makeup on.
You don't know how dumb people are until you have a dumb president.
Oh, well, I think he was a Manchurian candidate. And the reason we went there is a thing called the Greater Israel Project. So when you see Wesley Clark talking about the map,
yeah.
Remember they said no war for oil? We didn't get no oil out of that. In fact, most oil companies said don't do it, except Halliburton, the oil company that got favoritism.
Did you ever see Coleman Hughes' take on that? It's very interesting.
I don't trust that motherfucker no more.
Coleman Hughes said, but no one saw the report. He was just told what the contents of the report are.
Who?
Wesley Clark. He never said, I saw the report.
Oh,
he
wow.
never
That's
said, I
what
read
a great,
the report.
Wow, Coleman. I like when Coleman criticized you.
Isn't
because
that true?
Who gives a fucking shit? This is what happened. You clearly were hitting everybody on BB's bucket list, number one. Number two, I know Coleman got coached before he came on here. Guy who I don't have nothing against, but he came on here to refute basic facts that I want to make it clear. I'm not debating nobody. I want you to convince me that I didn't see what I already saw. I don't care about a debate. I saw the crimes already because I'm on a news show. It's very traumatic. And I watch morons who aren't going to look. And I could give them the video, not you, but people, hey, look at the video. I don't want to see it.
You're talking about Gaza.
Dude, it could be anything. It could be fucking anything. Everybody.
Right, but specifically with Coleman, what are you talking about?
Oh, Gaza, but also he did this wormy shit with ivermectin with you. He goes, well, if Big Pharma's made a lot of life. Big Pharma made ivermectin, so they're not bad. What the fuck are you talking about, Coleman?
This is the killer section because Kurt is basically saying, I saw it. I already saw the crimes. I'm not doing the fake little reset where everybody pretends the videos didn't happen. That is exactly what Joe cannot stand. Not because Kurt is wrong, but because once you admit people saw the bombing, the displacement, the starving, the aid blockades, the dead children, the destroyed schools, the whole industrial nightmare, then all the smug little euphemisms stop working. The old, it's complicated lines start sounding like PR for a slaughterhouse. So Joe does what he always does now. He doesn't really challenge Kurt, but he refuses to walk with him all the way to the obvious conclusion. He slows the room down, softens the point, lets the heat leak out. That's why comments like, Kurt is the only reason I'm watching this channel, hit so hard. Because people are not really watching JRE for Joe anymore. They're watching to see whether one of the guests can still force one honest sentence through the filter before Joe sprays cologne on the war crime stench and changes the subject. And that's the black pill. The old Joe used to act like he wanted to kick the door open on elite filth. The current Joe acts like a guy who still wants to stay in polite standing, with the same creepy rich class whose social world always seems to overlap with Epstein. Donor money, war lobbying, and media laundering. He's not lost. He's protecting the guest list. The old Joe used to chase the stink. The new Joe sprays air freshener on it. He has endless courage for safe targets, but the second Kurt starts circling Israel, Epstein world, or donor class filth, Joe turns into the softest little moderator on earth. Joe doesn't ignore Kurt because Kurt's wrong. He ignores Kurt because Kurt keeps walking toward the locked door. The man went from question everything to easy now. I still need to shake hands with these people. This is what housebroken skepticism looks like.